The desert is silent, then it is not. July 16, 1945. New Mexico. A fireball rises 12 kilometers into the sky. The sand beneath it turns to glass. J. Robert Oppenheimer watches. The man who built the most destructive weapon in human history thinks of a single line from an ancient scripture. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. But Oppenheimer is a nuclear physicist. He knows what death actually is. Not an ending, a transformation. The same laws that govern atomic bombs govern dying bodies. Oppenheimer spent his life proving it. This is what he found. The human body feels solid, it is not. Right now, 20 watts of energy move through your body. That is enough to power a light bulb. Every heartbeat, every thought, every breath, electrical signals and chemical reactions fire in sequence. You are not a thing, you are a process. Oppenheimer knew this. He spent decades studying matter at its smallest scale. What he found was not solid ground. It was mostly empty space, held together by forces so powerful they could level a city. The atom is 99.999% empty. The part that remains is energy bound so tightly it takes a nuclear reaction to release it. This is where the first law enters. Energy cannot be created. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only change form. This is not philosophy. This is the law of conservation of energy, verified by nuclear physics experiments to an accuracy of 1 part in 1,000 million. Every reaction Oppenheimer ever studied obeyed it. Every fission, every fusion, every decay. The numbers always balanced. When a person dies, the electrical signals stop. The chemical reactions cease. The heart goes quiet. By every visible measure, something has ended. But Oppenheimer's physics says otherwise. Not one unit of energy disappears. The body cools, that is heat transferring outward. The cells break down, that is chemical energy converting into simpler compounds. The body returns to the earth, that is matter dispersing back into the system it always belonged to. According to the law of conservation of energy, not a bit of you is gone. You are just less orderly. Now consider where the body's matter came from in the first place. Roughly 99% of the human body is made of 6 elements: oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus. Oxygen alone accounts for 65% of total body mass. Carbon accounts for 18.5%. These are not exotic materials. They are among the most common elements in the universe. Oppenheimer's field of nuclear astrophysics has a precise answer for where they came from. Hydrogen and helium were made in the Big Bang. Everything else, the carbon in every living cell, the oxygen in every breath, the iron in every drop of blood, was made inside stars. Nuclear reactions in stellar cores, burning for billions of years, forged every element the body needs. When those stars died, they exploded. Supernovae scattered those elements across space. That material drifted, gathered, formed new stars, formed planets, formed oceans, formed life. Almost every atom in the human body is billions of years old. Physicist Lawrence Krauss stated it plainly. Every atom in the body came from a star that exploded. The atoms in the left hand probably came from a different star than the atoms in the right hand. 200 million stars have exploded to supply the atoms in a single human body. A 2017 study from the University of California, Santa Cruz, estimated that 93% of the mass in the human body comes from elements forged in stars. Not one star, not 10, but generations upon generations of stellar births and deaths stretching back billions of years. Oppenheimer understood this chain. His research on neutron stars and gravitational collapse, the 1939 paper he co-authored with Hartland Snyder that predicted what would later be called black holes, was a study of what happens when stars die at their most extreme. Matter compressed beyond all limit, energy transformed beyond recognition, but never destroyed. When a person dies, the same process begins at a smaller scale. The atoms do not disappear. They re-enter the cycle. They return to soil. They enter water. They rise into the atmosphere. They become part of other organisms, other bodies, other processes. Eventually, when the sun dies in approximately 5 billion years, those atoms will be scattered back into space. They will become part of the next generation of stars. Parts of every human being will always be somewhere in the universe. Now consider what nuclear physics says at the deeper level, inside the nucleus itself. Radioactive decay is the process by which unstable atomic nuclei break down and release energy. It happens constantly, in rock, in soil, in the human body. Carbon-14 in living tissue decays at a measurable rate, the same rate used in radiocarbon dating to determine the age of ancient remains. When a person dies, that decay continues. The atoms keep transforming. Nuclear decay conserves everything. Total mass energy is conserved in every decay event. The energy produced comes from conversion of a fraction of the original mass, exactly as Einstein's equation, E equals mc squared, describes. Charge is conserved, momentum is conserved, angular momentum is conserved. The laws hold at every scale, in every reaction, without exception. Death viewed through nuclear physics is the most dramatic rearrangement of matter and energy a body will ever undergo. The rearrangement is permanent, but the material is not lost. Oppenheimer did not separate this physics from the rest of his thinking. He read the Bhagavad Gita in the original Sanskrit. He called it the most beautiful, philosophical song existing in any known tongue. He kept a worn personal copy. On the shelf beside his desk, he gave copies to friends. At Franklin Roosevelt's memorial service, he quoted from it directly. The Gita's central teaching is precise. The self is neither created nor destroyed. It changes form. Krishna tells the warrior Arjuna, "Do not grieve for the dead, because what is real cannot cease to exist. What is unreal never existed, only the form changes." Oppenheimer saw no contradiction between this and physics. The Gita described transformation. Nuclear physics proved it, mathematically and experimentally, at the level of individual particles. When he watched the Trinity fireball rise, he was not being poetic. He was watching matter transform at a scale no human had ever witnessed. He reached for the Gita because it was the only language he had that matched the size of what he saw. Now go deeper still, to the quantum level. The atoms in a living body are not random. They are arranged in precise, extraordinarily complex patterns. DNA encodes information in sequences of 4 chemical bases across 3 billion base pairs. The brain contains approximately 86 billion neurons, connected by roughly 100 trillion synapses. The pattern that makes one person different from another is staggeringly specific. Quantum mechanics asks what happens to those patterns. In quantum mechanics, every particle is described by a wave function, a mathematical description of all possible states the particle could be in. Before measurement, a particle exists in superposition, multiple states simultaneously. When the particle interacts with its environment, the wave function collapses to one definite state. Quantum decoherence describes what happens when a quantum system, like the atoms in a living body, interacts with a large, complex environment. The superpositions dissolve, the ordered quantum patterns merge with the surrounding environment. The transition is not destruction, it is dispersal. The information does not vanish, it becomes entangled with everything around it, spread across so many particles that it becomes practically impossible to recover. This is the same process that governs heat loss, entropy, the gradual smoothing of all ordered systems toward equilibrium. A living body maintains its order by consuming energy. Death is when that maintenance stops. The order dissolves outward. The pattern spreads into the universe. Whether that dispersed pattern carries any meaningful continuity, whether anything that could be called experience persists, remains the deepest unsolved question in physics. The fundamental cause of wave function, collapse, is still unknown. Oppenheimer worked alongside the men who first grappled with this: Bohr, Heisenberg, Born. He was present at the founding debates of quantum mechanics. He was comfortable with the unanswered question. He once said of the universe that it was surrounded by mystery, almost like a fog. What is not mysterious is the physics of the material itself. The matter persists, the energy persists, the atoms persist. They came from stars, they will return to stars. The human body is on loan from the universe for approximately 79 years. It arrives as assembled stardust, it departs as disassembled stardust. In between, it thinks, moves, loves, builds, and asks where it came from. Oppenheimer asked that question his entire life, in laboratories, in Sanskrit texts, in the desert at dawn, watching the most violent reaction humans had ever produced. He found the same answer everywhere he looked. The universe does not create matter. The universe does not destroy matter. It rearranges it endlessly across billions of years and billions of light years, building and unbuilding everything that exists. You are one of those arrangements. When the arrangement ends, the material does not end with it. J. Robert Oppenheimer died on February 18, 1967, throat cancer. He was 62 years old, the man who split the atom, the man who quoted death, the man who spent his life proving that nothing in the universe is ever truly lost. His atoms are still here, dispersed into soil, into air, into water, cycling through the same biological and chemical systems he studied, obeying the same conservation laws he spent his career verifying. The energy that moved through his body on the day he died did not stop moving. It changed form. It always does. Nuclear physics does not answer everything. It cannot say whether the pattern of a person, the specific weight of a memory, the texture of a thought, survives in any meaningful form. That question remains open. It may never close. Physics answers the material question completely and without exception. The matter is permanent. The energy is permanent. The atoms that built Oppenheimer are billions of years old and will outlast every structure humans have ever made. He stood in the desert and called himself Death. His own physics disagrees. Every atom that made him is still in motion. The universe does not do endings, only transformations.